Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here with me today is the host of an international House of Pies, Mr. Lee Tonin. Lee, what are you doing, man? What is going on?
I am glad to be back in the studio after a brief hiatus.
We have been gone for a few weeks.
It's been 2 or 3 weeks now.
Something like that. I can't remember. Somewhere in there.
What were we doing?
I don't remember. But it was a much-needed break. You know, obviously, we hit December. Last episode was a Thanksgiving recap and all that. And we talked about the Tyson fight, blah, blah, blah.
I remember that.
If you didn't listen to that, go back and tune into that.
I was there.
But yeah, hey, sounds familiar. But hey, real quick, before we get started into today's show, we got to mention this for sure. This is pretty big news for us. We wanted to thank all the listeners around the world. It's globally. We are everywhere. Yeah, remember, we are on all podcast platforms, so you can catch us anywhere. But 19 countries and over 100 cities in less than 9 months with 28 episodes so far with this show. That's pretty good, dude.
Well, what's nice about that is maybe someday when we need to run somewhere, we'll have a place to go. We'll be like,
maybe,
hey, I got to get out of here. Can I come to
this commune in France that keeps listening to us? You guys rule.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll bring our money.
But hey, but seriously, for real serious for a second. Thank you to the listeners all around the world, including the United States, France, Australia, Canada, the Philippines, the UK, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Qatar, Japan, Peru, the UAE, Norway, South Africa, Guatemala, Mexico, Italy, and last but definitely not least, Egypt. That's a really cool one.
Hey, walk like an Egyptian.
That's a badass one that we have Egypt on there. That's awesome. You can follow us on Facebook at In the Round AZ. That's our Facebook page where you can see a lot of videos and posts that we make all the time. Follow Lee on Facebook at Lee Tonin, just his name. And then you can
creative.
Yeah, right. This guy.
I need to get an Instagram account, man.
You do, man. You do.
I have one. I just don't use it. You need to show me how to use it.
Oh, it's easy, man.
I'm old, man.
It's better than Facebook too. And then you can follow me, Andrew, on Instagram at Andrew Taylor Radio. So the show archive is also located on Buzzsprout. That's where all past episodes, all the way up to season 1.
Yeah, you want to check those
9
out,
months
man.
ago.
There's some good stuff in there.
So, but we are available on all podcast platforms 24/7, 365 all the time. So tune in, man. All right, guys, let's get right into it. You know, we always do a funny news segment, odd news segment. We got some great stories lined up for today. Let's jump right into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, first headline reads, man turns in $3,000 found on sidewalk, saves family's Christmas.
Well, that was nice of him.
So on December 17th, police in Wisconsin said an honest stranger who found $3,000 on a sidewalk saved Christmas for a family by helping return the cash. So a resident walking in the city found a bundle containing $3,000 cash with multiple gift envelopes and a bank receipt in it.
Oh, so he had a name.
Exactly.
Oh,
so that's probably, that's awesome.
You got to do it.
That's the right thing.
If you didn't turn that
you
back
are
in,
screwed.
You are a piece of shit.
Exactly. At 100%.
Yeah.
There's no bones about it.
It would be different if you found like a $3,000 in an envelope with no markings on or something.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, depending on if you're just outside, I mean, what do you do?
Well, the right thing to do is to take the money back, especially during Christmas time.
Well,
anytime you should. There's no justification for being a thief.
No.
So
well, and that with all the information that they had in that situation, like with a bank receipt, obviously had a name on it.
It's not like you just found the cash on the ground.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a different story. But that's a lot,
Yeah,
too,
like I
to
said,
find.
you ever think about, like, if you ever found like a briefcase full of money with no,
I'd be scared.
I would be scared shitless.
because you know
yeah.
that's probably ill-gotten.
Yeah, well, I always think of that No Country for Old Men, you know?
Now
And it's-
finding a wad of money inside a jacket you got at Goodwill or a yard sale or something. That's a
yours.
score,
That's
dude.
a score. It's yours. Yeah, it's yours. I mean, unless you're really a generous person, you can go donate it to Goodwill or something.
So to wrap this story up, the resident turned the money over to police who contacted the institution listed on the receipt, which is People's State Bank. Good on them. Good bank, I guess.
Yeah, well, you have to,
obviously.
yeah.
So we were then able to work with the awesome folks at People's State Bank to get the money returned to the proper owner to ensure Christmas wasn't ruined after all. And for his awesome integrity, we provided the finder with a gift card to a local business to help brighten his day as well.
That's
and
good.
the local business wins too, so that's cool.
Yeah, not to mention the fact, can you imagine the stress those people must have been in when they figured out they lost their
Christmas
money?
is ruined. Especially 2020. It's already been bad enough.
Yeah, if it's already a shit show as it
Yeah,
is, and
absolutely.
it's like, man, I mean, the last thing you need in your life is stress.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Next story we have here. Headline reads 126-year-old message in a bottle found inside Boston wall. So this happened on December 17th as well. Researchers in Boston are unraveling an unusual mystery after a resident found a glass bottle inside a wall with a cryptic note tucked inside. The Boston Archaeology Program said a resident living in the Black Bay area found the bottle tucked into the space between their fireplace flume and an interior wall inside their home. So this whiskey bottle contained a cryptic note dated September 23rd, 1894, and the note bears the name Tom Ford on it and the phrase 6 on Shay. So it says, we have a mystery for the hive mind this week. A Boston resident found this amazing message tucked in a bottle in their wall, presumably placed there by past builders. The archaeology program said, does anybody have any ideas about this? This whiskey bottle, which is made by N. Simon's Whiskey back then.
So they dated it, and it's real, right?
The name's Tom Ford, and the phrase says 6 on Shay. So if anyone has any idea what that means, get back to these guys.
Well, you know what's weird is back, you know, in Boston you would have architecture that's that old, you know, because of where it is.
Yeah.
But you imagine how many people were probably named like Tom Ford and, you know, stuff like that back then. I mean, it's kind of...
seems pretty common.
Yeah, it would be a pretty common name. And what's really weird about it is...
What if it was a Ford family, like, you know, Ford Loco?
It could be. I mean, like I said, it would be interesting to find out what was it called? 6
on Shay.
6 on Shay. So, I mean...
I know someone named Shay.
Well, maybe it was like a drinking thing or something. Maybe they polished off this bottle of whiskey, and they said that's the 6th one we've done on Shay. Eh?
Maybe
I'll put this in the wall right here.
Maybe, yeah. I guess, yeah.
I think I always thought it would be neat to do something like that when we've done remodels at the houses and stuff that we've had.
Yeah.
To take like something like that and like it's almost like a time capsule.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like what was that thing that Geraldo Rivera did with?
Well, I remember finding old beer cans and stuff inside of walls and stuff, working construction and stuff like that.
When Geraldo Rivera did the Al Capone's vaults, and he was like,
there was nothing there.
There was like nothing in it, and it was
good job, Geraldo.
But the thing probably ended up, well, it was an interesting show all the way till the climax.
Well, he sold you on it till there was nothing there in front of you,
like,
nothing to show.
Womp, womp.
Good job, bro.
I bet Al Capone probably didn't even know that thing existed.
Probably not.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, well.
All right. Well,
I like stuff like that.
Moving along to our next story here in the news segment. Next headline reads, store employees lost diamond ring found in a customer's bag. Sounds kind of sketchy if you ask me, just off the headline alone. But December 15th, a California store employee who lost her diamond ring at work had the precious heirloom returned to her when a customer arrived home and found it in their bag.
Oh, no, that makes sense. That's
so Gina Ford, an employee, hey, wow, another Ford.
Another Ford.
Are you related to this other story?
Hey, do you know Tom?
Your ancestor,
What's up with
Tom?
these Fords?
Yeah, so an employee at Home Goods in Elk Grove said she was at work recently when she had realized her diamond ring, which had been given to her by her great-grandmother, was no longer on her finger. The
Grandma's
whole
ring, huh?
team looked all over the store and looked on the camera, and they thought it was a goner for sure. Ford's mother posted about the lost ring on an Elk Grove community Facebook page, but several days went by with no leads to the heirloom's location. So Joyce, a customer who had been helped by Ford at the store, said she dumped out her shopping bag several days later to wrap some Christmas gifts and made the discovery of the ring in the bag. So she was in the Joyce said, I was dumping out gifts and out came a ring and I was like, this is not mine. So, what an honest lady. This is. It's like I said, it's nice to see these people being honest out there.
And so did she see it on the Facebook page and that's how she figured it out?
She did. She had happened to remember seeing the post and reached out to the family on Facebook. And they said it was a Christmas miracle and they're glad that they got it back.
Your brother one time lost his wallet.
Yeah.
And about 2 or 3 days after he lost it, some guy come walking up to the front door, knocked on the door and gave it back. And I was like, wow, that's really... I don't think he had any money in it or anything like that, but it's just the hassle of losing a wallet or stuff like that. It's always a pain in the neck to replace all that stuff that you lost, So.
Yeah.
But anyways, hey, can I tell you a real quick story about losing a ring?
Yeah, what's up?
Mikey, Mikey, John's brother. Mm-hmm. It was in South Padre Island, and it was not too long after he had gotten married.
Yeah.
And he was standing on one of the decks at one of the local pubs there that sits over the bay.
Yeah.
And he actually pulled his wedding ring off and he was fidgeting with it or whatever, and he dropped it in the bay. And he was like, oh man, I can't go back home and say I lost my wedding ring. So the next day he came back and him and the guy that worked there said, you know what, they did this. They took a nickel and dropped it around the same place that he had dropped his ring. And so he actually crawled into the bay, which it wasn't deep water. I think he said it was like 3 or 4 feet deep.
Okay.
And he actually found the ring.
Wow, that's
by
crazy.
using the deduction of where the nickel fell in the proximity. And he said, and the guy told me, he goes, you don't want to get in that water. There's broken bottles down there. And he goes, you don't understand. I got to find this ring, man.
Yeah.
And he goes, looked for about a half hour and he found it. And it was
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of neat, man.
Wow.
But anyways,
we got one more story left in the news segment. This next headline reads, Pennsylvania waitress gets a $5,000 tip from customers. Now, if this doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what will.
This happened
This happened on December 14th. A Pennsylvania waitress said she was shocked to receive a $5,000 tip from a table whose bill only totaled about $200.
Wow.
Yeah, so a servers at Anthony's at Paxton and Brumala said that the tip will be of great help at the university in Chester, where she is a freshman studying nursing.
She got to keep it then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we read one the other day
she came out and said, I am just happy with anything. So when they were saying $5,000, I couldn't believe it.
I wonder how that all transpired. Yeah. If a bunch of the guys that were sitting there hanging out all
they ended up talking to her. You know, and figuring out she's probably going to school and stuff.
Yeah, didn't we do a story a few weeks ago that the lady got a tip and the restaurant wouldn't let her keep it?
I think so. If I remember correctly.
Kept it,
yeah. So, we did all these feel good stories because it's a Christmas special for us this week. So, we wanted to come back with a nice Christmas episode. And with that being said, we are going to take a short break, and we will be right back after this little bit of music. Hang tight. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little break. Yeah, so nice little chill out there for a minute. All right, guys, you know what the drill is. We always do Just the Facts every episode. All these facts, just the facts, man. All these facts are all towards Christmas.
Oh, no.
So here we go.
Reason for the season.
Yep. First one reads, the image of Santa Claus flying a sleigh began in 1819 and was created by Washington Irving, the same author who dreamt up the Headless Horseman.
Oh, neat.
Kind of weird, huh? he dreamt up something kind of really creepy and scary, and then still,
And then he made the Headless Horseman.
yeah. The next one we have here that's really interesting, and I know you'll get a good kick out of this. I specifically found this one. I was like, oh, Lee's going to lose it on this one, probably. So, you remember Montgomery Ward, the department
First
stores?
place I ever had a credit card was Montgomery
Really?
Ward. Yep.
That's cool.
When I was 16 years old.
That's cool. What was the first thing you bought with it?
Bought my mama a microwave.
Really? Oh, their first credit card?
First credit card I
for
had.
like Christmas, or was it for
They
just?
gave me, no,
just in
They
general?
gave me like a $300 credit limit.
That's a lot,
My
then.
father used to call it Monkey Wards.
Yeah.
And I think the microwave was $89 or $100.
And to make $5 payments every
Hell
month
yeah, I paid out the microwave for I think 10 years, and I still owed him $50 or so. I don't remember what it was, dude.
So the Montgomery Ward department store created Rudolph the Reindeer as a marketing gimmick to encourage children to buy their Christmas coloring books. The original Rudolph did not have a red nose. Do you know why?
No.
Back then, red noses were indicators of
drunks.
chronic alcoholism.
called a gin blossom.
And Montgomery Wards didn't want him to pose that look to children.
I always got that impression of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, right. And he was also almost named Reginald or Rollo.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a little. It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
actually.
it doesn't work,
But
honestly.
But have you seen all the static that Rudolph has caught this year?
I have not.
About the,
And I don't
the
get it.
inclusion and
Well,
saying
look,
that
man.
the father was ashamed of him because of his. You can look it up.
People put too much stock into this stuff. It's a cartoon.
People stop.
It's a claymation. Yeah, just
stop.
knock it off.
Those were things we loved as kids. We don't want them to go away. Maybe once us old fogies all die out, you can can all the.
Well, not even that.
stuff,
Just
man.
they're cartoons for children.
God, I love those shows when I was a
Me
kid.
too.
man.
I
Those were
still
the
love them
best.
to this day.
Oh yeah, they're still decent to watch.
So moving on to the next one here. Some zoos take donated Christmas trees and use them for food for some animals.
Yep.
Useful ways to recycle the trees.
I've heard that.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
actually
they
really
mulch 'em.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a great way to reuse them and recycle them.
Yeah,
You know?
I've heard that story before.
And did you know that it would take up to? All right. Well, you know what? Hold on. Let me see here. How I got to make sure. All right. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't stumbling onto another fact coming up here. But did you know with artificial Christmas trees that in order to be environmentally friendly, you would have to have the same. You would have your tree. You'd have to have the same fake tree for 20 years.
Yeah.
To be to
Makes
you
sense,
know
yeah, because if you changed it out every
versus
couple
using
years,
a real one every
they
year.
probably don't do well in landfills and stuff like that.
the plastic and everything. And
You're too young to remember the. It was way before your time. The aluminum Christmas trees.
I've seen them before. I know what they are.
Those
yeah.
that was a long time ago.
But next fact here: the Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square is donated to the people of London every year by the people of Oslo, Norway, as a thanks for their assistance in World War II.
Oh, nice.
So every year since then, they've always donated a tree
Gave him
to
a tree,
them.
huh?
Yeah, for
I'll
Christmas.
give you the biggest tree in the lot. But
Yeah.
the stuff is going to cost you $100,000.
I don't have that kind of money.
Let's see if anybody gets the reference I'm making there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, totally. Come on, especially this show.
Yeah.
You know, Bicycle, the playing card company.
Yep.
So, Bicycle, the U.S. playing card company, manufactured cards to give to all POWs in Germany during World War II as presents, right? These cards, when soaked in water, revealed an escape route for POWs, and the Nazis never knew a thing about it.
Those Nazis weren't as sharp as they thought they
Pretty
were.
tricky
were they?
stuff right there, if you
That's
ask me.
right.
I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's an interesting tidbit right there.
You like tinsel?
No, I never have.
Really?
I've never liked the way it looks on Christmas. I've always
Gotcha.
liked garland.
Gotcha.
Between tinsel and garland, I've always been a garland
Garland's way
person.
cooler, yeah.
And my mama loved tinsel. So
Okay.
we never had garland on our trees as little kids.
Gotcha.
We always had tinsel.
So tinsel was invented in 1610 in Germany, right? And at one time was made of real silver.
Huh.
Crazy, right?
Well, I mean, back then the precious
Odd.
metals weren't that precious, man.
I guess, yeah.
I like the way it looks. It just doesn't hold up well.
Yeah. So the next one here, and I can't figure out which Paul McCartney Christmas song they're referencing here, where I got this fact from. But can you think of a Paul McCartney Christmas song off the top of your head that he's ever done?
No.
So, well,
I'm sure he has.
Whatever his most famous one is, Paul McCartney's Christmas song is widely regarded as the worst of all the songs he's ever recorded. He still earns $400,000 a year off of it.
They play it that much?
Yeah, it's that in rotation that
You know,
often.
I don't know.
So I'm
what
wondering
it is.
which
we
one
should
it is.
find out what it is.
Yeah.
But he didn't. That wasn't. So this is Christmas, right? That's John Lennon, right?
I think so.
Do they know it's Christmas? What's the name?
I don't
so
remember.
This is Christmas. What is your favorite rock? Like not taking into consideration the standards like Rudolph and Deck the Halls, but like ones that they've done afterwards, like more modern, like rock Christmas
We'll touch
songs.
on that here in a little bit. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
He still makes $400,000
even his
a
shit
year.
work makes him a bunch of money.
Yeah, almost $500,000. So.
Yeah, that might be a little embellished, but
We're coming up on the last few that we have here for this segment. If you gave all the gifts listed in the 12 days of Christmas, how many gifts do you think it would equal out to?
oh, I've heard this before. It's well, you'd have to do the math on it, but
It would be.
well, we're gonna do it right now. Let's see. We got a partridge in a pear tree is one.
Yeah.
What's the second
How
thing
the
after?
lyrics go?
What's the second thing after a partridge
I
in a
have
pear
no
tree?
idea.
Me either. You want to be on? You want an honest opinion? I hate that song,
It's
and
annoying.
I hate songs like it.
So
So what is it?
364 gifts.
Okay.
Kind of.
I just never have like I don't like when
yeah.
songs repetitive.
Yeah.
It's like 99 bottles of beer on the wall. It's
Yeah,
like this is the
exactly.
dumbest shit ever, man.
Exactly. So.
Am I supposed to decipher the stupidest song I've ever heard?
So the next one we're gonna do here, this is our last one for the segment. This one's really interesting because I remember being a kid and using this as a kid, back really before the internet was even super prominent as it is now. You know what NORAD is, right?
Yeah, I know what NORAD is.
The
Why wouldn't I?
The North American Aerospace
Yeah,
Defense
it's in
Command.
Colorado.
Yeah, so NORAD's Santa Tracker was born from a misprint in the newspaper. In 1955, a Sears ad was supposed to print the number for a store where children could call and tell Santa what they wanted for Christmas, right? But the number that was actually printed was the hotline to the Director of Operations for the U.S. Continental Air Defense. How that happened, I have no idea.
It had to have been a mistake, or
So Colonel Shoup
I've heard of him.
ordered his staff to give the children updates on the coordinates of Santa whenever
Yeah.
they would call in.
I remember that as a kid.
Yeah, so that tradition continues today, but now it's online and stuff. So,
It used to, you know what, Andrew?
And I do remember the phone.
It used to be on the 11 o'clock news.
It would show it, yeah.
When
That's awesome.
When the news only ran a
Once.
half hour a day or
Yeah.
twice a day before
Yeah.
we had all the crappy news cycles that last infinitely.
And NORAD continues the flight updates
Yeah.
on Christmas night and all that. Christmas
Clark,
Eve
are you
and all
serious?
that. Yeah, They said they saw Santa Claus.
Clark, are you serious?
I thought that's really cool that they continue to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And that the colonel actually ordered that too at the time, which was pretty
They
cool.
stuck inside of a mountain. He was probably bored shitless.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, might as well.
I
fuck
wish
with
somebody
him.
would bomb us so we
Yeah.
had something to do.
What do you think the most popular toy of Christmas was when you were a kid?
We talked about
The
this
year you were born.
1967.
Yeah,
I know it wasn't G.I. Joe.
that was 1964. The most popular toy on Christmas in 1967 was the Light Bright.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, which is awesome. I had one of those. Those are badass.
You know what? I can never. The Light Bright to me was in the same category as the Etch-a-Sketch. I could never do
These
anything
things
that was, I could never do
It's all
anything.
wonky.
Well, I could never do anything that was somewhat like artistic or whatever. You see these commercials where they had like the Sistine Chapels on a Light Bright, or these
Yeah.
guys had drawn these.
That's some guy
amazing-
doing that too.
Yeah, and I would get it, and you know how the Light Bright worked, right?
Yeah, the sheet.
It had a sheet of
Black
paper
sheet
in the
with a
back.
light in it, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, it sucked.
You know what the most popular toy was in 1992, the year I was born, for Christmas?
The Ninja Turtles.
That was 90.
Okay.
That was the year my brother was born, David. So my year, 92, would be the Barney doll. Talking Barney toys were the most
horrible.
popular Christmas toy
Horrible,
ever.
worst.
I remember when you guys hired Barney for a
That wasn't
party
me.
one time.
That
Somebody
was,
did.
That was your former brother-in-law. That had nothing to do with that. Barney creeped me out even when I just never got. But anyways, it was like the Teletubbies. If you
Yeah.
weren't high as shit watching this stuff, it made no sense.
Well, yeah, and they're for
I'm
kids.
I'm a cartoon guy.
And it's for kids, but I thought those were interesting, and we'd throw that in there. So I did want to touch on, what's Christmas to you? What does it mean to you, you know?
Well, I mean, it takes on several different meanings. I mean, the real meaning of Christmas is the birth of our Savior, of course. I mean, that's what it stands for. I mean,
Yeah.
that's its true meaning. But if you mean, what does Christmas, the holiday, mean to me? It means family. It means, giving gifts to people who you love, receiving gifts from people who love you, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and,
I agree.
Goodwill to man, and
I agree.
good
Exactly.
cheer and all that.
I think everybody should really take that into consideration this
Yeah,
year with
well,
everything
I
going
think
on.
this year
It's
people-
unprecedented, and
I think this year, you know, not a lot of people are working. I mean, a lot of people aren't
Absolutely.
working.
Yes.
And, you know, it's. I mean, Christmas became very commercialized a very, very long time ago.
Absolutely.
And it's become a kind of
which isn't bad.
No, it's okay. I mean, you know, people have criticized the commercialism of holidays, but you know what? Commercialism creates economy.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
it creates jobs. It creates, you know.
Now-
So that's what Christmas is to me.
Now that with that being said, since we're talking about Christmas, what are some of your favorite Christmas memories, like favorite Christmas presents, maybe top 3, like, or something like that?
Oh, I could just. There's a couple that I wanted to. That I was when you asked me this yesterday when we were talking when we were doing warm up for the show,
Yeah. Prepping.
research or whatever,
Yeah.
prepping. Yeah. As a little kid, I'll never forget waking up on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I'm from a big family.
Yeah,
You
a lot of-
I had
seven-
brothers
seven
and sisters.
kids.
Yeah, 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah, and unless there's one I don't know about.
Maybe. I don't know.
And it was always I had you know, and my family was kind of staggered. I have 3 older siblings that are.
The years were spaced
Yeah,
out.
and between my oldest siblings and you know, then there was my older brother and my little sister. We were kind of the second wave.
Second
of
wave of kids, yeah.
Yeah, the retribution tour there. But there was just something about Christmas Eve because we never opened presents on Christmas Eve.
It was always on
It
Christmas.
was always on Christmas Day, and there was just something special. It was almost magical about. I remember me and my little sister like getting up very early.
Yeah.
And sneaking before anyone was up and sneaking into the. And my
go
mom,
look
my
at
mother
stuff.
was really good about setting stuff up and you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Making it look
And,
good.
and it was just one of those kind. It was just a feeling that you lose as you get older. You know,
Yes,
there's-
I see.
Until you have kids of your own,
Exactly,
You kind of
yeah.
get it back a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
You know,
You
But
try to
there's
do the
there's-
same,
There's
yeah.
certain feelings that you get in life that you never can recapture. Certain things that thrill you or entice you or
See,
excite
I
you.
somewhat believe that because I celebrate Christmas pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
you are
good,
very
so,
into the holiday, man.
you
That's
know.
neat. And you are. That's and some people are just like that. I'm kind of go with the flow. I love the holiday season. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, you know, it's just. But and then another thing that we're telling Christmas stories here. And I'll
Yeah.
tell one from when you were little.
Yeah.
One year, your mother and I, and it was more me than her. I don't want to cast any blame on your mom, but I had this idea that I'd always seen in movies and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where like they didn't do any prep work for the Christmas. You know, I mean, other than decorate the house or something, but like no Christmas tree, no presents under the tree and stuff like that.
Oh no.
And I always
know where
wanted-
you're going
I always
with
wanted
this.
to do that. I always wanted to do like
Sounded good in
where
theory.
in theory, it was awesome. On paper, it looked
Bad.
good. In practice, it was horrible. But
bad.
I remember you cannot. So we didn't do anything, and then Christmas Eve came, and I went out to go get a Christmas tree, which is impossible to do in Las Vegas on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
But we ended up
especially in the
finding one
90s.
In the 90s. And then stalking it, and it didn't really work out all that good. But you know, it wasn't a complete disaster.
I remember that Christmas.
But it was fun, and then but I would never suggest doing that, and I would never,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have to anymore. But I would not. I never attempted it again. I think the only thing that was close to being as rough for when you guys were little on Christmas
Mm-hmm.
was the year that we lived in northern Nevada, and we went out and cut down our own Christmas
I
tree.
remember that too. Yeah,
That
yeah.
was miserable.
that was pretty
Remember we had
crazy.
the dog.
Yeah.
She was a puppy.
They
at
got
the
sick
time.
in the
Yeah,
car,
Dee Dee.
getting sick.
And she couldn't ride in the car. She got sick all
Every
over
time.
Every time she got near a car. Yeah. And we got out there. It was out in the Carson Valley, up in Carson City. It was freezing cold. And
You had one of those old timey saws.
yeah, I had one of those old, like, the big round ones with and I remember I found this tree. It was like really cool looking. I was like, oh, this will work really well.
Oh, man.
And it was weird because the trunk on the tree, I guess you call it the trunk or the root
The
or the
base.
found to the base.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it when I started cutting it, but it was actually two bases
Trees.
that made one tree. And so when I cut through the first one, half the tree fell over. So it was like, oh my God. You know, I wouldn't mind spending my retirement in the mountains somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
And I would go do it again if physically if I was capable to. But yeah, that was That was a very, very cold Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And that wasn't Christmas Eve, though. We did that prior to Christmas Eve. And then one last story I wanted to say about is I remember something also as being a kid is when we would wake up Christmas morning.
Yeah.
And my sister and her husband lived in the San Diego area when we were growing up, and we were up in L.A., and we used to have to wait for them to get there to open our presents. So like I said, we would get up at like 7 in the morning, whatever time we got up.
Yeah.
And my father would make breakfast and all that stuff, and then we would sit around and wait for an hour because it was probably only a couple hour drive from there. But when you're a little kid and
it's forever.
waiting, it's forever.
Yeah.
So... But,
especially on Christmas.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So to segue into this next thing here, you asked me what my favorite Christmas presents were.
Yes.
I think the thing I asked for the most ever and these were all when I was a little kid. When I was about 6 or 7 years old,
yeah,
I remember getting a big wheel.
Okay.
And I really, really
Who didn't have one of those?
And I really wanted a big wheel.
Yeah.
And I think my little sister got a tricycle, and I got a big wheel. And it was magical. It was like this thing. It was like, geez, I probably still believed in Santa Claus at that time, and all that. And then a few years later, I was a huge fan of the Bionic Man show, the Steve. And my sister bought me a $6 million man action figure.
Yeah.
And man, it was like I could die right now and I've accomplished everything I wanted
at the time
at 9 or whatever. And as I got a little bit older, there was an electronic games first start coming out.
Yeah. Handheld games.
Yeah, like the football and the basketball. There was a drag race game that was called Redline.
Yeah.
That I had asked for
made by like
months.
Mattel
But
or
it was
somebody.
expensive, and my mom and dad weren't, overly wealthy.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
So it was. I remember getting that, and it was just like, man, this is. I played that game nonstop for a long, long time, and I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Yeah, finding one.
But that's my little Christmas thing.
The main Christmas memory that probably sticks out to me is the year I got my Schwinn Stingray.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I got a Schwinn Stingray crate. It was a green one.
I remember that.
And I remember the whole reason why building up to it, months before building up to it, was actually like seeing the bike in the store and just seeing it. Yeah. And it was one of those things like in Wayne's World where he keeps going and see the guitar in the store, and you're like, oh man,
not today.
Someday I'm gonna own this thing.
I remember when we bought that. Yeah, that was fun. We kept it in the closet for a month.
Yeah, and I remember walking in there on Christmas to go get you sent me in there to go get batteries into your closet, and the bike was sitting there, and I was like, oh man, it was like Pee-wee's Big Adventure when his bike's sitting there. Yeah, good morning.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
So that was awesome. I mean,
I love that part. I loved when you guys were little.
Christmas is
really
always like, to me it always goes Halloween, then Christmas, then 4th of July.
I love Halloween. Yeah, I mean between
Easter
Christmas
was always cool as a little kid too.
Yeah.
When you're a little kid, Easter's always rad because there's always candy and Easter egg hunting and stuff like that, dyeing the Easter eggs and all that. But
I guess if I had to decide between Halloween and Christmas,
and this year
I'd probably pick Christmas.
And this year we went really all out on Christmas, like as far as decorating and stuff. I had a train out on the patio and all that stuff, and so
and it seems like a lot of people are doing that because they're stuck at home.
Absolutely. So to segue into another one of our last parts of the show today, what are your 3 favorite Christmas movies off the top of your head?
My 3 favorite Christmas movies now.
Yeah.
I would have to say Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Okay,
is probably
I have that on my list too.
I would say
for the 3 in no particular
that's
order.
The one where the kid wants to be the
Burgermeister.
Yeah, Burgermeister.
There's no toys are illegal in my town.
And then, I mean, if you want to be, and then I also like the one with the dentist. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's a good one.
A good one. Mm-hmm. And then if I was to take something that was in a more modern twist, I would say probably Christmas Vacation, man.
Yeah, see, that one's on my list too.
Or you know what? I forgot. I would probably put Trump's that is probably the Christmas Chronicles.
I know you really like that one with Kurt Russell.
I like the second one was good, but the first one to me
is better.
There was something about it at the time when I seen it. It really hit it, and that's like anything. It really hit a nerve.
So mine would be the original Grinch and to me it's a tie between the original and the Jim Carrey.
That was
one.
my dad's.
I like them
movie.
both. Yeah,
my father's favorite Christmas movie was the Grinch.
The original with Boris Karloff.
I don't know if you'd ever seen the one with Jim Carrey.
I think it came. Yeah. So and then Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation was on mine too as well.
It's Christmas Vacation.
It's a classic.
Is a funny movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really have. It's kind of like is Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie? It's, not really, but it is. It's or
Die
Hard.
Yeah.
And then you got all the other ones like the Christmas with the Cranks. And what was the one you were watching?
What would be your favorite Christmas songs? Top 3. off the top of your
Tell
head.
It on a Mountain is my very favorite.
Yeah.
The one Jewel did on her Christmas album. Yeah, it's by far my favorite Christmas song. And then, like you were asking, or I wanted to ask you, I said, of the moderns, I love all the standards, the classics, but I love the one that Jewel did, the Go Tell It on a Mountain.
And you mean modern takes on it. I'm not going to lie, like Jerry Only's version of the Misfits, I didn't mind when they did the Grinch song, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. They rocked it out and sped it up.
That would be your favorite Christmas song?
Not favorite. My three favorite Christmas songs would be the Peanuts one from the Christmas Charlie Brown one. Christmas Time Is Here, the one they sing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Blue Christmas from Elvis is pretty good.
There you go, yeah.
And the original You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, I like that one.
And my dad loved that whole thing. You know what I was going to ask you earlier is out of the modern takes, I would think that what's the one that Mariah Carey did was a good song, the All I Want for Christmas
Yeah,
Is
and
You.
she's done so many
The one the
Christmas.
Eagles did, Please Come
Be Home for Christmas.
It's very sad. It's a sad song.
But it's still a Christmas song.
One of the ones that I always liked was the one the Kinks did. And in England, they call him Father Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's right.
I know it's got a nasty message to it.
I forgot about that. That's still a good song.
Another thing, it's not really a song, but I remember listening to it every Christmas as a kid because I had older brothers that were into like comedy and stuff.
Yeah.
Was the, we need to listen to it this year because we haven't yet. Is the Cheech and Chong?
Santa Claus and his old lady.
That is it. Just to pick up the welfare checks.
That cat didn't know any tunes.
But I remember being a little kid, and my brothers and I shared a room.
Yeah.
And it would come on like on Dr. Demento or whatever, and
at nighttime or whatever.
At nighttime on Christmas Eve usually. You know? And it was just so funny the way he goes. Well, he ate the magic dust. He's like, hey man, how do you get the reindeers to fly? He gave him some magic dust. It was hilarious.
Is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here for the Christmas Christmas season?
Like I said, the reason for the season is the birth of our Lord Savior.
Yeah.
And keep Jesus in your heart and goodwill to all men. And I hope that this year everybody gets what they're asking for or what they want or need. And then, but I also hope that everybody appreciates what they have. I know it's been a very, very troubling year. It seems like we're seeing a light out of this now, maybe hopefully. We pray for that, and I hope everybody is safe and happy and during the holidays and can see their family as much as possible in the time that we're in. And I'm very, very thankful for the blessings that I have and my family and my friends and all that. And I just want to say God bless everybody.
Well said. And I will close this out here for the Christmas special 2020. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, but we'd also like to say, if you're seeking any help or feel alone during these difficult, unprecedented times, please reach out to the local hotlines and agencies in your area. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything that'll, do any harm to yourself or your family or anything like that. God bless all of you. Thank you for allowing us into your lives this Christmas season, and we bid you a heartfelt good night.